Good afternoon and good day to you, everybody. My name is miahtheking, and today we're looking at a highly anticipated, long-awaited game released today called The Wandering Village, developed by Stray Fawn Studio and published by Stray Fawn Studio and Whisper Games. This game is in early access and is charging $25 American. Now, I've been looking forward to playing this game for a long time, and I've been following it forever, so I'm super excited to jump right in. Also, if you hear any commotion in the background, I apologize, that's my puppy being annoying. Now, this game describes itself on the Steam store page as a city building simulation game where you build your city on the back of a giant wandering creature. The creature's name is the Great and Honorable Anbu. Oh, and if you can believe it, it's post-apocalyptic as well, because, well, it just is. So basically, here's the gist of the game. Humans once lived peacefully on this world. Then this poisonous plant began to grow and spread at an alarming rate, poisoning and killing anyone who breathed it in or ate from it or basically just came into contact with it. This growing horror spread quickly and widely, thus making humans have to become nomads to avoid the deadly virus and continue to live their lives. We follow a certain tribe of nomads who happen upon the great and ancient beast Anbu. Nothing else about him is explained. Anyway, the theory is that the great and honorable Anbu has awoken from his deep slumber in this planet because the poison has begun creeping deeper into the planet's core, so the great beast is getting up and moving to avoid the deadly poison. Luckily, your tribe of nomads came across the great and honorable Anbu as he was awakening, and they decided to take a chance and settle the village on the great beast's back. And there you go. That's the story, which, to be fair, it's more story than most city building games give you, and it's an interesting one at that, but I'll go into that a little bit later. So now, all the things I love about this game, but I would recommend you watch the whole video so you get to hear the negatives as well, alright? Okay, so, I love the art style. At first it doesn't look too impressive, but once you play it a bit longer, you can start to see the artistry here. I mean, it has different art styles for different things. The buildings have different art from the people. The people have an art style that is more fluid and adaptable, which is perfect considering a villager can go from being a doctor to a layabout to a farmer in just a few days. The art of Anbu is different from everything else, and there is the art of the terrain, a separate map with different art as well. It's so cool to look at and clearly done intentionally by the developers because it all meshes very, very well together, making the game a lot of fun to watch as you're playing. And the sound effects. Ah man, the sound quality on this game is pretty amazing. I mean, the brief voice acting of one scene lasting maybe 30 seconds was top notch. The music is amazing. I mean, just listen to this. I was instantly drawn in upon hearing this. Listen to this. I mean, that's just epic. I would show you the cutscene with the female voice actress who does a phenomenal job, but I'll leave that to you guys. Don't want to spoil everything in this video. And then, as you play the game, you'll hear not just the amazing music in the background to help lose yourself in with the immersion, but also the ambiance of the townsfolk and the people and the world. I mean, when you scroll in, you can hear the whole town alive. You can hear an owl hooting in the background, the stonemason hammering away, the villagers chopping at wood. You can hear Anbu when he yawns or eats, and you can hear birds chirping and wind blowing. I mean, wow, the sound quality is one of the best I've seen in an indie game in a very long time, and sound is very important, especially for immersion. Next thing, I really enjoyed the gameplay. So basically, it's a city builder, right? If you don't know what that is, basically you place down buildings and homes that your people need, bring in more people, and expand as you unlock new buildings through research and yada yada yada. So obviously this game has all that stuff, but it's not too complicated, and it's not too simple either. It's a good balance of micromanaging and barely paying attention, which is how I love my city builders. And here's the thing, because the great and honorable Anbu is always moving, you'll find yourself in different scenarios or biomes. One day you're in a lush forest, the next day a barren desert. So you'll have to plan accordingly, change up your crops, and prepare for the worst. There's also, like I said, there's scenarios, so there are different things you can come across where you'll have to make decisions, and these decisions can change what happens to your people or what resources you get or whatever, but they're not long and complicated. It's fairly simple. We went to an oasis to find more water, but there was no water. What do we do? You know, stuff like that, but still, it's fun and it's interactive. There are infestations that you'll need to squash before they consume your village and Anbu. You'll need to send out scavenging teams to search for other survivors or rare resources. You'll need to manage your food properly, feed the great and honorable Anbu, and of course, collect his poopy. Yes, that's right, you'll need to collect his poopy. Basically, it's not just a city building game, it has lots of interactions with great and honorable Anbu. Feeding him, telling him when to sleep, petting him, telling him which direction to go whenever he reaches a crossroads, and so much more. But be careful, if you harvest his spikes or his blood, which will make the people on his back happy, he'll lose trust in you, and if he loses trust in you, then he'll stop listening to your commands and do whatever he wants, which can hurt you, big time. As for length, well, I only played an hour, and I know that I barely scratched the surface here. I know there's a lot more there, and I know this is probably going to have me invested for a very long time to come, so I'm not worried about length. It's got the length, alright. And the game's stability is pretty good too. It never froze, or clipped, or crashed, or had problems starting up, or anything like that. I mean, it ran as smooth as silk. So yeah, I think that's all the positives. Great creative graphics that serve the game well, amazing sound quality, fun, interesting, engaging gameplay, a lengthy game making it worth our time, and pretty stable. Those are some pretty good qualities. But now I gotta go into the negatives of the game, and believe me, I had to really search to try to find any. But here we go, and you know, just in case, because I don't want anybody to get too uppity, I had to nitpick for these negatives. They're minor, but I want to make sure I give everybody all the facts that I can. So, the first thing is that price. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand how pricing works, right? I know how it goes in the gaming industry, and if you know anything about that stuff, you know that the whole $60 for a AAA game is outdated and not necessary anymore. But I've seen games that are far more developed with higher quality go for less money than this game is asking for. Now, I don't know if they got greedy, or if they really think the game is $25, or if the publishers pressured them into asking that much. And as good as the game is, I don't think it's worth that much, but only by a little. I think this game is worth $20 max, between $15 and $20. Now, I know it's not a big change, but to some that could be the difference between giving a game a chance or not. And it's not that big of a deal, as it is only an extra $5. But the thing for me is, the quality of the game as a whole, including all its offering, just doesn't really seem like it's worth $25. It seems just a little bit too steep, and that's in my own personal opinion. The next negative thing about this game is its tutorial. Now, the game does give you a tutorial, don't get me wrong. Remember, I said I had to really search for negatives here, and I'm nitpicking. But the problem is that the tutorial doesn't really tell you enough about stuff. Now, when it does tell you about something, it's done very well. But when it doesn't, you're kind of just like searching for an answer you're not going to get. For instance, I cannot for the life of me figure out how the Great and Honorable Onbu's trust level, where it is, or what to do with it, or how to change it. I can't find it anywhere, and it's not in the tips section, and I haven't seen a tutorial about it. I thought it might be the green circle in the top right of the screen, but it doesn't seem to move at all, and it always looks full, so why doesn't he trust any of my commands? I mean, sure, the game is in early access, but Onbu trust seems kind of important and should be there. Plus, the game gives you hints and guides about buildings you haven't unlocked yet, which makes it a bit confusing when you're trying to find the building it's teaching you about, but you don't have it yet. As I said, a minor thing, but I'm still going to point it out. I don't know, I think that's it. I mean, I guess another nitpicking would be the kind of interface for building your city. Like, you can't rotate buildings, which is really annoying. It's hard to figure out where the edges of the buildings are for when you're trying to place your roads, so you'll end up crowding buildings and not realizing you did that, because of how the buildings look and the art and whatnot. Some buttons don't work, not buildings, some buttons don't work. Like, I tried to tell all my farmers to harvest their crops, and they weren't doing it. So then I told them just to plant crops, and they weren't doing that either. So they just continued on as normal, so whatever. A bunch of minor things like that just scattered about. But, I mean, it is early access, and those kinds of problems in an early access game are okay in my book. Just keep in mind that as you're playing it, you may run into several small problems all over the place due to the fact that the game isn't finished yet. But yeah, that's about all I got to say about the game, both good and bad. Overall, I think this game is wonderful. I was really addicted and enjoying myself, and I even lost track of time while playing. As I stated earlier, it was really hard for me to find anything negative about it. It's a great city building simulation game that does something different from all the other ones. It's unique, it's original, it's well developed, it's almost properly priced, it's definitely going to take you more than a few days to reach the end of the current content, and overall it's just a really well developed, fun city building simulation game. Hell, I remember I was maybe 10 minutes into the game with a big smile on my face saying, wow, this is pretty cool. I highly recommend everyone who sees this video to go support this game and buy it on Steam. It's worth the asking price, even if it is just a bit overpriced because of how unique and original it is. Now obviously if city sim games aren't your thing, then maybe pass on this one, but I'd still encourage you to try it out and check it out because it's not too complicated that you wouldn't know what you're doing, even if this is your first city builder. Hell, it might even be a great introduction to city builder games, and you should use this one as a stepping stone to others. So yeah, go buy this game. It was a lot of fun. So thanks everyone for stopping by and watching my video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Also, if you want to be notified about when I put out new videos, you can follow me on Twitter, you can hit that bell, and basically keep an eye out every week. I try to put a video out each week. So thanks again for watching. I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure, and until then, I bid you all farewell.